Hi, everybody. Like I said, we're gonna try something a little crazy today. We're doing a session. We're gonna call it "Let's Do Lunch." And the idea behind the session today is that it is a live decluttering session, where I'm hoping that everyone who's joining today has something that they want to declutter. But we are going to start today's session by actually digging a little bit into decluttering with kids, specifically playrooms. I intentionally kind of let my kids wreak havoc in their playroom so that we would have quite a bit of work to do today. But to start, I want to kind of dig into a little bit of like the psychology behind how we organize kids' space. And also talk a little bit about the change management that goes along with decluttering. So to start, I'm Kate from Sorted State, and I write about how we can use professional tools like Lean and 5S and Six Sigma and change management here at home to help develop systems to give us more time back. So yes, it is about decluttering. Yes, it is about making sure that you have exactly what you need, but it's really about how do we get people time back to do the things that they want to live a more fulfilling life and through the lens of home organization. So to talk a little bit about kids, first, psychology of children is, really focuses on out of sight, out of mind. So when you talk about organizing a kid's playroom or specifically cleaning a kid's playroom, you'll go to clean and you'll pull something out and it's like, you never play with this, but the kid sees it and their eyes light up and they think, oh my gosh, I love that toy. And it's because if it was hidden behind something, under something, in a box, in a bin, and they haven't seen it, they actually just did not know that it existed anymore. So with kids, having things visual, having things open, having things accessible is really important. And then also children thrive in nonlinear play situations, right? So they're not looking to, I want to play a board game start to finish, or I want to play with this train set exactly as it's designed. They want to have their Barbie ride the train as it runs over an animal on the track. And then the Barbie also needs to be styled at the same time. So they need barrettes and hair ties. So all of the way that children play and all the ways they really dive deep into play and get consumed in the play activity is all from this idea of like children don't play in a linear structured way. They really follow unstructured play. And allowing children to have a space that supports unstructured play does help improve things like emotional intelligence, helps reduce stress for children. There's really a lot of that goes into this. And I will say that when we talk about the sort of amount of toys that children have, there is an overwhelming body of evidence that supports fewer toys is actually allows children to have more meaningful play and deeper play. So there was a 2018 paper by Carly Doach, Michelle Mwale, and Brooke Ocasio. I probably said some of those last names wrong. It was published in a psychology journal or an infant psychology journal, and it talks about they did a study. It's a relatively small study, but 16 toys versus 4 toys. And they give children sort of 2 hours of uninterrupted playtime. And the children that had 4 toys actually played much deeper. They played longer. They had more meaningful play activity during those 2 hours than the children with 16 toys. And I think this goes for adults too, right? If you have 16 outfits to wear today, you're going to struggle with decision fatigue. You're going to struggle with overwhelm. So having fewer choices is actually better and does allow for more meaningful connection to those things. Um, so the second thing I want to talk about is change management when it comes to kids' playrooms. And I realize there's a little bit of irony right now because I'm sitting alone in my kids' playroom. But I do have a little bit of, I choose to separate my children's in like their presence online from reality, right? I don't want my kids to have, they're not old enough yet to consent to be online. And I don't want to have their images online more than necessary. So, what you won't see me do today is throw anything away. I am going to be doing a lot of organizing from the lens of putting things away, maybe reprioritizing. I'm going to put some things into a bin I have here, a bin that I'm going to start creating like a little personal toy library. So some of the toys that I'm just going to cycle them out, cycle them back in. We talk about this, people talk about this all the time, right? So like how to kind of have a backstock of toys. that when your kid asks for it, you can get it out, or you can basically limit how many toys are in active circulation at any point. A big thing for kids is you want to discuss things with them, right? So in just last year, 2025, there was a paper published in Psychology, Journal of Psychology, by three postdocs, Hang Ma, Cheng Fao Wang, and Ping Hu, that talks about the unpredictability in childhood contributing to the feelings of increased desire for material acquisition and less sort of like pushing you to a scarcity mindset later in life. So if you think about it, like this paper really covered all manner of unpredictability in childhood, but you can think about it as like when you take toys away from kids, toys are part of how they identify themselves. It can cause sort of this feeling of a lack of autonomy, perceived scarcity. You don't want to trigger something to happen in your children's lives unintentionally by like just throwing things away on them. So you want to make sure that anytime you're doing decluttering, it's very collaborative. This is one of the times that a red tag bin is going to come super handy. So I have this like little collapsible crate that I use always as my red tag bin. It's super portable and light and easy to move around. It also doesn't have a lid, so I can see what's inside of it. But one of my other things is I have one of these. So whenever I do a decluttering exercise and tag things, I basically have until my next decluttering to deal with that red tag, which usually, let's face it, is around every 2 weeks. And maybe not decluttering is the wrong word, right? But it's kind of like this is my bin where I put things that I'm not sure yet what to do with. Do I want to rehome them? Do I want to discard them? I'm not sure. So this is going to be where I put some things from my kids that maybe they've outgrown, but I want to just run and buy them before we post them on Buy Nothing or anything. And I do have a trash bag because I'm sure I'm going to find some markers without lids and other things that are genuinely trash. And then I'm kind of repurposing a little cloth bin from another space in my house that I'm going to use for some paper storage for my kids because right now I have their paper in a massive bin and it's not working. I also I'm going to be thinking about the playroom as I go. So remember, any space in your house, and this is for all of the people who are doing hands-on decluttering today. Any space in your house has to sort of function as supporting you in a job. So the job of my playroom is to occupy my children without much interaction from me. So that means they need to be able to find toys. The toys must be engaging for them. They need to be playing, they need to be able to play with it themselves. And it also needs to be done in such a way that is safe for them and that I don't need to make sure and monitor that the activities that they're doing are safe. Right. So everything in here is pretty safe already. But what I'm just going to get started doing is moving some stuff around, doing some decluttering, and I'm hoping that you all can see what I'm working with back here. So, I did not prep the space before today's call. I did kind of let my kids go a little crazy in here. So we're just going to talk through things as I am sort of working through the space. And I will do my best to, stay on camera and not get too out of focus. But this room is a bit of a weird shape. So let's just start with, I have a lot of paper on the floor here, and I'm going to quickly go through, and I'm not going to do much sorting right now of the paper itself. There's probably some things that could be recycled, but I'm not going to worry about it. I kind of like to do big batch, go through the paper and recycle it at once. And for all of you or for those of you, I think just you, who have joined in my Google Meet session. If you have any questions as you're doing a live decluttering, feel free to come off mute. Feel free to ask. Those of you in my go live on Substack, you can, send a comment. I can see the bottom of the screen and I will respond when I notice it. So, like I said, I'm moving all my kids' art papers into a smaller container. Hopefully this allows me to file float down a little bit better. So to stand them up so that it's easier to see what's inside. It also then frees up another bin for me to use for something else. Jess, how's your junk drawer going? And now for you, the job that a junk drawer plays is what's sort of your North Star there. And I really think wow, so working on that. I think maybe more utility drawer. Probably. Uh-huh. So like I said, I'm not really doing much throwing away. I would say that right now, the way that our playroom has been organized, and it has a very low ceiling, is we have to kind of like walk through the room and duck into the low back part of the room to get to our little seating area. And it really kind of limits the amount of time I want to spend hanging out with my kids in the playroom. So part of today that will be off camera, maybe doing some reorganization. Oh, I found my first marker with no lid, and that is going to have to go in the trash. I just have a bin lid, but I don't even know where this bin is anymore. I guess I'll put it in my red tag area. Figure that out later. If you're feeling very brave, yeah, go for it. Oh, yep. That's going to be. Do you have a container to sort things into, Jess? Well, I mean, my recycling bin is right there. Okay. Everything's very accessible. It's just mean for the things that you're not sure yet what to do with. So I don't think there's going to be that much. So I guess maybe not what you're going to do with, but if you sort of determined that this is your utility drawer, you may have things inside that don't support you in your main living area, but belong somewhere else. How about like a rehome bin? So I'm like 2 steps away from my garage. 2 steps away from like the final resting place for most of the things that don't belong here. I was going to utilize a technique called push it there now. Oh, I like that. And get some extra steps in the process. So kind of like that child psychology of out of sight, out of mind. I am a big fan of clear bins for my kids. So all of the markers, pens, everything like that goes into clear bins. And I don't really separate because my kids don't just like to use colored pencils or just like to use markers. They kind of do a little free for all and go to town with everything at the same time. Oh, I will say one thing I'm going to be throwing away is we have a bunch of this like magnet game thing. And as a parent who knows about like the danger of small little magnets with 2-year-olds, I will be finding all of the magnets that I find, and I will actually be throwing those in the bin because if your kid swallows a magnet, it's an ER trip. Nobody wants an ER trip. Yeah, I have a friend who's a physician's assistant, and she says like she's not afraid of a lot, but the things that she avoids are kids being more than double their height off the ground in a place where they can fall, and magnets. Those are the two things that she's like, nope, we just avoid these at all costs. Move my camera a little bit as I shift into the depths of the playroom. We all had colds last week, so a bunch of tissues lying around. Okay, I will say I found something that I'm not really sure what to do with. It's a puzzle. It's a gift. We like the puzzle. The box is shot, and I don't really have a container to put it in to keep it consistent. So I'm going to put this in the red tag bin for now and come back to it when I have a good storage container for that item. We also have a little horse balloon that has just been hanging out now for a while. So I think it's safe probably to discard this at this point. We'll put it in the bin. Hasn't been a toy that anyone's playing with, so I think I might be safe. Here I've got a lot of jewelry. I did talk about this in my article this week that I used to sort my kids' jewelry into like little pouches. So there's a pouch or a bin for hair bands and a bin for jewelry. And every, I don't know, 2 days I would come into the playroom and find it all dumped on the ground, and then I'd resort it. So now I stopped sorting it. I put it all in one bin. Just all goes together, even like this little purse, because it's all part of the same nonlinear play activity, right? So we get ready at the same time as we're putting shoes on our Barbies and we're putting hair bands in. It's all part of the same activity. Oh, here's another thing I'm not really sure what to do with. A bunch of those little polymer clay flowers that not sure if are really still valuable. But okay. Okay, now's when we're getting into some baby toys that probably could go on Facebook Marketplace. And they are all things that when we moved to Australia, we had packed up and put in my mom's house that we sort of just tucked away. And then when we got back, our daughters are at much different ages. And there's a lot of things that I thought they would still probably be in the age to play with, but I'm seeing now that they're not. I think one of them is actually a toy that my sister gave me. Thanks, Jess. But I think I'm gonna put it in my not sure what to do with dating right. And I have some outdoor toys that need to go downstairs. Got a little silicone snack thing. You're on mute. Oh, nice. Always gonna find something that fixes something else, right? All right. Got these stacking things, which you like. But now that our youngest is 2, I don't know that we really need 3 of them. So let's see. These are probably the best ones to keep, but I'm going to rotate them out. We have to stick them in a while. Jess, unless you have any need, I think these are going to go on Facebook Marketplace. Kids start aging out of toys and to just pass it forward. So these need to go upstairs. Home. They're out a whole bin. Look at that. Okay. I bought these like lace up wood toy things for on an airplane ride, and no one has used them ever. Like, they were not a good buy. So there's the thing about the purchases that you regret, right? You have the cost of fallacy. You feel like, oh, I spent good money on this. We need to just play with it, get our money's worth. Well, the truth is, I already spent the money, so it doesn't really matter, and I can get rid of these. Just take a deep breath. With a bad investment, no reason to invest more of my time into managing this things. This does not belong here. This is a pillow sheet cover. Not belonging in the playroom. I don't think Ziploc bags belong in here. Those can get rehung. Got like a chocolate tin, who I think may have been used at some point. Might be good for something though, so now, but if I can't find a use for it in the next week, it's going in the garbage. Recycling. Well, freed up a bin, I can safely get rid of my peanut butter container. That can go in there. Now I'm feeling a lot better about this piece already. Actual garbage. Here's another example of non-linear play, right? So I've got cars, dragons, human body parts, models, little magnifying glass, and a bunch of little plastic cats. My kids like to play with all of these at the same time. They like to build a kitty city out of magnet tiles and drag cars around, and then have dragons attack it. It works. Oh, let's see. Oh, these are things that don't actually belong in here. So those go into my red tag bin to get rehomed. So now I said I was going to do some toy rotation. So let's see. I spooled up this house to rotate out. I've got out some Barbies, some trains, some magnet tiles, some art. Probably good. Tell me it. He says, it brings him a lot of little things. Cool, like garbages, polish, and so I'm just throwing them away, like glass or good. And Boston knows that problem, and it's like that spot. And Yeah, you've talked about that idea before with me, and I think I've actually even shared it, like a little curio jar, right? So you just kind of have like a jar of curios. It actually becomes like its own little work of art as it gets filled up. Yeah. It'd be cool to do one a year and then have it as like a time capsule that your kids open up. But I want to encourage anyone to keep 18 glass jars in their house. But right. Well, it is. Um, well, and then she's like, and then when a kid comes to your house, or outside, you get to pick three of them. Oh, yeah, that's a good idea too. So it's sharing the pain. You get six. Very nice. Okay. I think, all right. So I've got my bin of toys that I'm going to rotate out. I'm just going to tuck them in the closet we have up here. It's just kind of reducing the number of toys that my kids see. I'm also going to grab a few more stuffed animals. We just have too many that are out. And these can go rotation bin. Interesting. I would not have expected that. Yeah, they're like the only ones. I will say, seeing this reminds me that it's time to make some new Play-Doh. So maybe I'll leave this out as a reminder of gosh, we need to do. All right. Flies, flies. More stuffed animals for the wall. I think really it's the rare earth magnets that are very dangerous. But in general, if your kid eats a magnet, there's always the chance that they've eaten the second one. And that's the part that people are really afraid of, right? Because two magnets could stick together. So, yeah. I mean, I think if you go to the ER and you're like, my kid ate a magnet, they're not going to pause to ask you, what kind of magnet? How strong was it? It's like, no, we're going to take them into the ER and get that magnet. Yeah, magnets, coin batteries are actually way less dangerous than magnets. Yeah. Coin battery is dangerous, but a magnet could cause like an intestinal perforation. Okay. All right, magnet tiles, frames. So I think as part of my reorganization, I'm going to move the futon out and move the train playing to the back and move their desks against this wall. That way we're just like a little bit less all trying to cram as much stuff into the back corner as possible. Makes the toys a little more accessible. Helps keep everything a little more visible. I will say the one thing I bought my kids toy related for Christmas was a very large frozen Barbie castle. And it takes up so much space. Okay. Paper. All right. Well, I have two empty bins, an empty basket, and a box full of things to tuck away, and then one box of recycling and decisions. How's yours going? No. It does. A small amount of effort really goes a long way. Like, what have we been on the call for 30 minutes? And just constant little adjustments, 1% better over time makes a huge improvement. Got the English cycling team to win at the Olympics. Or come in second, maybe? I don't remember. I don't remember the full story. Look it up. Okay. All right. How do we feel like this little lunch session worked? Awesome. Awesome. Next time I'm more prepared now. So, next time I'll actually give people enough notice to join. I'll maybe like schedule it instead of like a day before. Yeah. What do you think? Saturday? You think doing it on a Saturday would work, or would most people be too busy, or like Sunday? So I know it's hard. Maybe I'll send out a poll. All right, everybody, poll is coming out. Let's see what people say in the next my article next week. I'll send out a poll asking if people are interested in joining and when is a good time. All right. Well, thanks for joining, Jess. Bye.